our brains actually are hardwired to go to the negative as well. And it's our job to override that. And it's just the thoughts that are coming in, but we have the power to change those at any moment. We get to choose a new thought anytime.
Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of The Other 99%. I'm here today with our co-host, Susan Larimer, and our special guest, Julie Jacky. Julie, I just want to thank you so much for joining us on the episode. And why don't we start off by you jumping in and just sharing a little bit about who you are, what you do, and all that stuff.
Yeah, my name is Julie Jacky. And first of all, I just want to thank you for having me. You guys are rocking it out with this podcast. It's so much fun. And I love listening to all the different guests you have on. And I'm honored to be here with you too. So I met Susan through Lemongrass Spa. So I'm a director through a direct sales company. I'm also a spiritual coach, a certified EFT practitioner, and I spend a lot of time focusing on gratitude. I live in Florida by the ocean, so you see like turtle art and other art behind me. And that butterfly, it's actually my book cover. I'm a famous author too.
Awesome.
I'm not famous at all, but I am an author.
You are famous.
Yeah, my book is about healing and forgiveness after childhood essay.
Yeah, so Julie and I have known each other for a couple of years. We've both been with the same company for over 10 years, but really got to know each other the last couple of years. We're in the same Tuesday mastermind groups. We get together every week and just share business, how it's going, what's working, what's not working, encouraging each other with a group of about 12 other ladies. But I just want to brag on Julie for a little bit. I got to be Julie's roommate at conference a couple of weeks ago. Julie, our podcast is called The Other 99%, but Julie is the top 1%. And that hasn't always been the case, but she had some mindset shifts over the last couple of years. And so I got to watch her walk on stage for top in sales, top in recruiting. She earned the incentive trip this year and last year. She got star bonuses for top in sales for, was it $50,000 in 1 year? And then bonuses for team building and encouraging her team to grow too. And there may have been more. She was on stage all night. I was taking pictures of her. But I was just so excited to cheer her on. So one thing I would love for Julie to share is her mindset, because in our Tuesday group, it's a time for us to be honest with each other and to share and be vulnerable. And sometimes we get a little complainy. Sometimes we get a little whiny. And Julie is always the first one to cut it off.
I heard that about Julie.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this situation around. And sometimes we just want to wallow in our complaining, but she doesn't let us, and she just flips the mindset around. So Julie, talk about how your mindset is so different and how you can use your mindset in such a powerful way for your business.
Well, thank you for all the bragging on me. I appreciate that. And just to share, like Susan said, I wasn't the top 1%. That's new. I've been in the business 10 years, and I started off, I just wanted a discount, like so many people who join a direct sales company. And I would share it with friends, and I had people joining my team over time. And in year 7 is when I got promoted to director. And it was just because of doing stuff over time. I wasn't trying to be director. But then once I hit director, I'm like, oh, I don't want to struggle at the end of the month to meet my goals. I want to hit those early on. And I need to kind of reimagine my business, because what I've been doing was just I don't know what that, just going
Just
along.
going with the flow, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I had other stuff I was focused on. A couple of years I was writing my book. I what used to be a vice president at a family office, and I was doing that full time. I was getting certified as an EFT practitioner and working with clients. So my direct sales company was kind of always part time on the side a little bit. And but then it changed when I became director because I wanted that. I wanted the perks of being in that at that level, and I wanted to grow. And so with that, then I need to think some different thoughts and have changed my behaviors. And then I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that the economy has changed over the past couple of years, and
Mhm.
it seems like it's been getting tighter and tighter. And I know a lot of people have been struggling with that. And I decided that I was going to earn the incentive trip last year. And not only did I decide that, but I made a commitment to that. Like, I am doing this. So I decided and I committed, and then I had to change my behaviors to do that, but also my thoughts. And that's what Susan was saying. How do you do the mindset thing? Well, it's really easy to say my sales are low because people aren't buying. Um, and I don't know how I'm going to make it. Like, that can be the mindset. And
Mhm.
if I'm going to earn that trip, I can't have that mindset. I have to say, I'm all in. There are people buying, and I'm going to attract those people to me. And I'm going to help them and support them and serve them well so they will spend a lot of money with me. I remember, Susan, when we were in the Tuesday group and the recession conversation was going on, whether we have a recession or not, or the economy has for sure shifted. Yes, it has. And there are still people buying. People
Mhm.
still care about the products that we use. They still want them, especially because they're quality products. And so we have to change our thoughts in our head to propel us forward to reach the goals that we want to reach. So whenever anybody in any direct sales company or multi-level marketing company is wanting to hit a goal, you have to change the thoughts to support you to reach that goal.
Why do you think we make these excuses? Why do you think, like, the economy's changing, I guess I'm doomed? Why do we do that to ourselves?
Um, we're actually programmed, we're actually hardwired programmed to go to that place to keep us safe. So our brains actually are hardwired to go to the negative as well. And it's our job to override that. And it's just the thoughts that are coming in, but we have the power to change those at any moment. We get to choose a new thought anytime. So just because it's coming in doesn't mean it's true. And people like to think, oh, that's a true thought. That's fact. Well, it's not. You just made that up, and we all do it. And so it's innate within us, and it's our job to override that.
Now, Jackie, or Julie, Julie, I said, I'm like, we're going to do this all the time, right? We just talked about this before the episode. So, Julie, do you have like a regular routine that you do on a daily basis where, you wake up in the morning and you do something just to try and keep your mind in that positive atmosphere, let's say?
Well, Susan got to witness this when she stayed at my house in July. So my house, there are words all over, and it's positive affirmations. So when I get up in the morning, I have an affirmation calendar in my bathroom on the counter because I go to the bathroom every day, and I do that first thing in the morning. And so I have that affirmation calendar, and it's a new one that I rip off every day, and I read it, and some apply to me and some don't, but no matter what, it's a positive mindset thing. And then all around my house, like right here, I have radiate possibility. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So that's me sitting in my office going, okay, Julie, pick up the phone and make the call. Even though you're uncomfortable with it, things happen when you get uncomfortable and you make that call. Um, so I have a friend who sent me this, and instead of swearing, I'll just hold it up. And that makes me smile when I look at it and I'm like, all right, let me keep going. Let me make that next call. Let me do that next email. Let me do that next thing to make the connection with my clients or potential clients, even though sometimes it's uncomfortable. Or, so we can shift our thoughts to get us out of that discomfort a little bit more, so we are willing to take that step to make the call or send the email or send the text.
Yeah. If our default mode is negative and going to that negative, you have to have those visuals. And I love that. And at Julie's place, we pulled out a water jug, and your water jug even had a message on it. And I forget what it said. You are beautiful, or I'm grateful, or thank you. And I'm like, okay, are you talking to your water? Like, what is happening? But it's just everywhere. And it works. It clearly works. So Julie used to come on to our Tuesday calls every single Tuesday with her little Mexico hat and her maracas saying, "I'm going to Mexico." And she would claim it every single Tuesday. And we're like, "Yes, Julie, we know you're going to Mexico." But she did. She claimed it. She said it every time. She stated it, and it happened.
And I went to some networking meetings and put that on and told them what I was doing, because people like to get on board and support other people's goals and dreams too. And so I had fun with it. That is not my comfort zone, to put a little tiny sombrero and shake some maracas at a networking meeting. That's weird. But I also knew that it would stick out in their minds and that they would laugh like you just did. And then they would support me in whatever way they could by sharing a post, cheering me on, purchasing products, joining my team, whatever that was. Everybody supports in a different way, and I accept all forms of support and cheers.
Yeah. And what better way to like put it out to the atmosphere, right? And the world, like, oh my goodness, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. Bring this into my life. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I've always struggled with goal setting and mindset. And I think probably a large portion of the direct sales field, struggle with it just the same as I do. And, it's very hard to get yourself out of that negative talk. But I find that, when you surround yourself with the positive and the positive people, it definitely helps you. Right. So, do you have anything? I'm all about like, do you have any books, any podcasts or anything like that you listen to on a frequent basis that our listeners might, take it and run with?
Let me just address the water thing really quick too, that Sue
Okay.
shared that I do, and then I will share different things that I listen to.
Okay.
So the water thing, yes, that is weird, but there's a guy, Dr. Emoto. He actually died several years ago, but I got to see him in Duluth, Minnesota, before he passed away. And he did a bunch of research on water where he'd actually freeze water, but he'd write words or have words on the container, and then he would freeze it and put it under a microscope and look at it. And I don't love that I drink out of I have jugs of plastic jugs of water. And so I wanted to do something to change. I can't, that's what I need to use right now because I don't use the regular tap water. So I'm doing the plastic, but what can I do to change and enhance that water? Well, I know from Dr. Emoto's work that the molecular structure can literally change based on the words that you put in it or on it. So that's why I write. And I've started writing all different messages on them now. So it's not just the same message. And it's love and gratitude and happiness, joy, laughter, you are beautiful, whatever it is, all of those messages. And then I smile when I see that too.
Mhm.
But if you think about the power in that beyond me doing that to a water jug, our bodies, like a large percent, I don't remember the exact percent, but like 75% or more of our body is water. And so if we think about what we're saying to ourselves, it absolutely impacts our body just like it impacts the water. And so that the power of words is it's huge, and
Mhm.
in shifting ourselves to the positive is good. And I have a few different ways to do that. Um, I do listen to Lewis Howes. He has a lot of great stuff. I kind of listen to a variety of YouTubers, and they're more positive people, and like the ones that are popping in my head are not relevant to what we're talking
Mhm.
about that I listen to. But I really just try to immerse myself in different ways of the positive thinking, because we have to constantly change our thoughts. So, and then you mentioned, Lisa, about how it's hard and you can kind of get stuck in that loop.
Mhm.
And so I mentioned EFT earlier. And so if you guys want to talk about that a little bit, EFT is something that I use to get out of those loops and get unstuck.
I'd love to. I mean, if you don't mind jumping in and telling the listeners a little bit about what it is and how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, so EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It's also known as tapping, because we literally take our fingertips that God created for us and we tap on different meridian endpoints. So we have a meridian system in our body that helps with flow in our body. It helps move energy around. It helps release things. Because you guys have all felt stuck at one time or another, and it's because
Mhm.
something's just not flowing right. And so we take our fingertips, we tap on these different endpoints, and then what we do is I call this tap on the crap, and, and we speak the negative of what's going through our head. So we have those negative thoughts coming up, and so we speak them out loud while we're tapping. And what that does is three different things. One, it helps release the emotion that's going on there. So stuck is an emotion. So it can help release that stuck. And then it shifts your thoughts from negative to positive. And it also reduces your cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And we are overstressed in society. And so when you're tapping and it's reducing the cortisol in your body, you literally feel your body calm down and relax, and you feel calm and peaceful inside your body. So it's powerful, and you can use it on so many different things. So with direct sales, we all get stuck in, I can't do this, I'm not salesy, I can't speak in front of a group, all these things. And so we can tap through those fears, because that's fear.
Mhm.
False evidence appearing real is fear, and we feel that fear, and so we can tap through it and release it, and then have more empowering thoughts. Yes, I can stand on stage and talk to this group, and I can be calm and confident.
Perfect example. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. So I shared this with Lisa earlier too, but I was staying with Julie during conference. I stayed there a night. You may have heard in another episode, I was one of the speakers on stage, so I would be speaking in front of 300 people, and I was a little nervous for sure. And Julie's like, "Can we tap it out?" And I've heard Julie tapping before. I've done a little bit of tapping with Julie, but there's always that level of like skepticism, like, okay, what are we really doing here? Like, all right, Julie, let's tap. So we sat on her couches and she walked me through the process, like identifying what my fears were while she's guiding me through the tapping process. And it was a good, I don't know, I felt like it was like half an hour long process. But as I was doing it, she was kind of monitoring, like, okay, how do you feel? And I'm like, okay, my heart rate is up because I'm picturing myself on stage and getting nervous, tripping, like all the things that I'm worried about. So we kept tapping and tapping and tapping. And then, every once in a while I would have like a big sigh, and she's like, "Okay, that was a big release. Like your body is reacting to the tapping, you're releasing." And we went on, and then at one point my whole body was trembling. And I'm like, "Okay, Julie, like what is happening now?" Because I'm physically shaking from like head to toe. And she's like, "This is a big release. Like your body is reacting, you're working through." And then she would monitor again, like, okay, think about the things you're worried about. How are you feeling now? And my heart rate wasn't going up as much. I didn't have those butterflies as strongly. I was definitely calming down. And then she had me replace some negative words with some positive words, which is what she was talking about earlier. So I was able to, go through that process. And of course, I continued to practice my speech and all the things. But when I got on stage, and I wasn't able to identify this at the moment, Julie talked to me about it the other day, but I was unusually calm. I didn't have any worries. I went right into my spiel. I said everything I wanted to say. I felt very comfortable up there in front of 300 people, which is not natural. That's not natural to feel comfortable in front of that many people. And she called me out on it the other day. She's like, "It's because you did the hard work. You did the hard work. You tapped. You stated your fears and reversed the words." And so I'm a living testimony of tapping and the power of positive words. And it was just incredible. So Julie has quite a gift for tapping in that whole community. So if you have not looked into it yet, if you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, reach out to Julie. She has resources and she will walk you through it. But it's a very powerful, untapped, no pun intended, resource.
Yeah. I bet the other thing that we did with that is we purposely chose how you wanted to feel on stage. And so while we worked on, clearing out the fears and then changing some of the thoughts, we also wanted to change the feelings inside the body. And so a lot of people first think, well, I want to be excited. And
Mhm.
so, I think Susan did too. Like, I think she wanted to be excited. And I said, okay, well, just imagine being on stage and feeling excited, because sometimes that excited feeling is the wrong emotion. Like, even though we're excited about the situation or excited about the upcoming experience, we might not want to carry that excited feeling on stage, for example, because that excited feeling is very similar to nervous, and it can trip you up and have too high of an energy. So she realized, oh, no, I want to feel calm. And so we practice feeling calm in the body while she's imagining herself standing on stage. And then we practice feeling confident because she wanted to feel confident in what she's delivering. And she had wonderful information, so to feel the confidence in that. And then she chose to feel peaceful. And so there she shared, she got up on stage and she felt that way. And she was
Mhm.
able to deliver and serve the audience in a bigger way because she got out of her way and was able to really present that. And I remember somebody coming up to Susan afterwards saying, "You didn't even shake or anything."
I got it all shook out earlier.
Yeah, yeah, you did, because of that. That was the body going into a fight, flight, freeze mode, and we are clearing that out because it's literally shaking and releasing. It's like animals, and not everybody shakes when they tap, just so you know. But that was a big fear to get on stage and speak in front of a large group, and to share what all the stuff that she was going to share is a lot of knowledge and information. And so animals, when they go through something stressful, afterwards they shake it off. That's
Hmm.
like part of nature. And so our bodies can do that sometimes as well. And it's releasing and letting go, and then you're calm and confident and ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I know you're here talking about your direct sales business and your career, and your achievements there, but just going to ask you because I know there might be many people thinking, is the tapping something that you offer outside of your direct sales business, or is it like, is it a virtual option, or is it just in person? And yeah.
No, uh, thankfully in 2020, everybody caught up with me on Zoom because I'd been using Zoom for tapping sessions for a while,
Okay.
since 2017. I used to live in Minnesota and I moved to Florida in 2017. And when I did, I had all the clients who still wanted to work with me. So Zoom was an option. And then in 2020, I started a virtual women's tapping circle. And we get together a couple of times a month. I lead everybody through a process for 90 minutes and we work through stuff that's going on in their daily lives, but also in their businesses. And so I actually have, when you receive messages, people call them different things, but there's a message that comes in from God, or you call it your intuition or a little nudge. And then you get this synchronicities where you'll receive information, like you'll be listening to a podcast and you hear the perfect thing you need to hear. So I always thought that I would be doing tapping full time when I was complete with my consulting role that I had. And I noticed that I wasn't doing it full time. I was doing my direct sales company full time. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why am I spending so much time on this? And so over a week and a half, I was getting these little messages and nudges and synchronicities, and became really clear that I'm to tap this, fully intended, the word tap my way up the director ladder. And the tapping my way up the director ladder means I'm tapping out the fears and limiting beliefs that I have along the way to get to each level. Because we have different fears and limiting beliefs. When we're moving into a higher leadership role, we are like, I don't even know how to lead. Am I a good enough leader?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have these new thoughts come in, so then we tap and clear them out. And so with that, I realized, okay, and then when I go through that, I'll be documenting all of this process, all the things that I work through, and be writing my next book will be EFT tapping for direct sales. And so
Awesome.
that is exactly where I'm heading. And ultimately down the road, it'll be a few years yet, I'll have a course that's EFT tapping for direct sales to really help people to clear that out. But right now I have my women's tapping circle, and I can support people in clearing out those limiting beliefs and fears that come up along the way.
I
Love
love
that.
that because just hearing Susan's experience, I think it would be so beneficial for direct sales. I know myself, like I am not a public speaker. Like I'm okay behind the screen. But try to get me on stage, I would be just trembling and shaking and fumbling and doing all the things. So when I heard Susan's experience, I'm like, yeah, I just need to talk a little about it. And is it okay if our listeners, if they're interested, that they contact you through the links that we put in the show notes about
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. I am doing both my direct sales and tapping, and I'm happy to help people. I do the women's tapping circle. Sometimes I do in-person workshops, and sometimes I do online workshops. And then I also do one-on-one sessions when people really want to work through something specific. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, Julie, one word that keeps coming up in our conversation is gratitude. And I know that gratitude is huge for you in your business, in your life, in your tapping and everything. So, tell us how you use gratitude in all areas of your life.
So I've practiced gratitude for a very long time. I used to write a gratitude blog and share all the things I was grateful for in my daily life. I used to, in my women's tapping group, do a daily 365 days a year post on gratitude to invite other people in. Um, and gratitude is powerful because when we feel gratitude for what we have, that emotion of gratitude and appreciation, that puts us in receivership mode because we're acknowledging, thank you so much for my cell phone. Thank you so much for my water. Thank you for whatever it is, the reading glasses that help me see. Whatever it is, there's so much to be grateful for all around us in our everyday life. And when we really stop to feel that emotion and really honestly are grateful for it, it draws stuff into us. And so I practice gratitude for like people in my life, expressing it to them. I practice it in my daily life for just going around. I mean, I write gratitude on my water bottles a lot. So I see the word gratitude and I pause and I make myself think of something I'm grateful for in the moment. I also have a gratitude Facebook group I started up because I wanted to practice gratitude with other people that are interested in keeping it going because I want to do that. And then I started a gratitude challenge using somebody else's book that is a 28-day challenge. And even though I had done all these gratitude practices over the years, there was something that profoundly impacted me doing that 28-day challenge. And so I do that challenge 3 or 4 times a year and invite other people to join me. And one of the things that I love to, I call it play around with, is when we're focusing on future things that we want to create, like my trip to Mexico, where I'm wearing the sombrero and have the maracas, and I'm announcing I'm going to Mexico. I'm going to Mexico every Tuesday. I'm sharing with them. I also felt what it felt like to be in Mexico. And I don't just mean the warmth on my skin and the happiness that I got to be there. I mean the gratitude for all the customers who helped me because they purchased through me, all my new teammates who joined my team and helped me earn that trip, and all that they did, all the interactions and connections I had with them, discussions, anything around that. And I also felt a lot of gratitude for my Tuesday group that helped me keep moving forward. And I feel like all of those people and all of those things helped me reach that. And the feeling, the gratitude in advance for it happening helped it come to fruition as well.
Mm, yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question because I'm curious about this. What would you say is your biggest accomplishment in your direct sales career?
Think it's what we talked about earlier, that I reimagined how I was doing business, because it was always part-time, like part-time on the side. It was like, okay, well, I'll give somebody this product, and oh, somebody's talking about a skincare, so I'll tell them about this, but I didn't like go out of my way to tell people about stuff. Um, and so when I had to, what I didn't have to, I chose to reimagine my business. I did a whole bunch of things that I hadn't previously done to get me to earn that trip, which I knew would get me to some of the goals that I also wanted to achieve. And so I went from the first 7 years, I did 50,000 in volume. And then year 8 alone, I did 50,000 in volume because I made so many changes. And then in my year 9, went to, I'm at the top 12 in sales in the company. I'm top 12 in recruiting in the company. And that blows my mind, really. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm equally proud of all the mindset changes I've had along the way and all the fears that I've let go of so I could do that. One of those fears, to be really candid, is shame I felt around direct sales. And
Mm,
I had to tap through that. And I realized, well, there's so many people in sales, like so many people in sales. And this is just a different model. It's just a different business model. That's all it is. I'm the same as these other people. I just get paid for my efforts of producing, of selling. I get paid for those. I don't get paid for any other thing I put into it any other time. I don't get paid for just showing up. I get paid for producing. And
Hmm.
I think that's an awesome model that is rewarding me and that I can go anywhere with it. I don't have a limit. And so it's my proudest accomplishment is all the things that I did to get me to be on stage to receive those awards.
mm.
Yeah.
So tell us how you run your business. Are you in person? Are you online, Facebook? Like, how do you run your business?
Okay. I run my business in multiple ways. So I run my business, I'm online. I have a Facebook community that I focus and share different tips. And I call it clean living. So it's not just exclusive to skincare, that because it's a lifestyle for me of clean living, clean eating, clean cleaning products, clean everything. And so I share that in that community. That's part of my online presence. And then I have like my personal Facebook where I put things every once in a while. That's not my main focus. I also do vendor events and I do those around the state of Florida and I do them for EFT, my spiritual memoir, and Lemongrass, my skincare company. I don't want to keep promoting the company itself. Um, and so I promote those there because they all go hand in hand because I'm connected to all of them and they're part of my life. And other people who are interested in the EFT may also be interested in the clean skincare products. And if they're interested in the clean skincare, they might be interested in that too. So it's just part of my life and who I am. I also do local networking. So those vendor events that I do out of town are one thing. I do in-town vendor events, and then as I do networking, more people are will show up at those vendor events in town, but I also have an in-home boutique. So I funnel people from the networking to my in-home boutique and from the local vendor events to my in-home boutique if I'm comfortable with them when I interact with them. And so I'm online, I'm in person a lot, and I'm building that presence so people know more about, like oh, Julie's going to be here with these products. I can look for her. And then I also communicate via text with a lot of people. I'm sure you guys have talked about project broadcast
Mm-hmm.
before. And I have really shifted to make those way more personal and interactive. Like I tell them little tidbits about myself and my life as I'm reaching out. I'm not just trying to sell a product, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to build a relationship with them. So those are the ways that I get to meet people. They're the ways that I connect and interact.
Love it. Yeah. I'm sure that has a lot to do with how your business has grown over the decades too, right? I mean, you talk about wanting to share a little bit about you, building that know, like, and trust. And I think that is so important to get give your customers a little bit of a deep dive into who Julie actually is, right? I mean, they're going to support you and they're going to work with you if they can connect with you. So I love that you shared that. All
Thank
right.
you.
I always like to ask our guests for their favorite quote or a piece of advice that they think that every direct seller should hear. And I know yours is going to be amazing. So I'm very excited for this. So
No pressure. Uh,
no pressure.
mine's going to be probably different because it's more of a declaration. And
Okay.
I have this at my computer, and it's the things I've gone through and healed from have positioned me for a tremendous upgrade in my relationships, health, home, finances, and business. And then as part of my gratitude, I add on there, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's whatever we had in our past doesn't define us, but it helps us become who we are and who we want to be when we're able to work through whatever traumas or situations or struggles that we had. When we're able to work through those, they strengthen us and we become a different person. We morph out of them. We become a butterfly, like, out of that cocoon. And so this declaration reminds me of all the tough stuff that I've gone through, all of it has positioned me for where I want to be.
That's amazing. Yeah. I always love when people share and, you can tell it's a very impactful piece of advice or words because you get the goosebumps, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It just gets you deep down inside. So I appreciate you sharing that so much. Just going to ask, is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up the call?
Well, thank you again for having me. I'm open to people connecting with me. I think you guys are going to put in my Women's Tapping Facebook group and my website and my gratitude Facebook group as well. I'm happy for people to join me in there and ask questions and get to know me a little bit. I think that what you guys are doing here with having these conversations with so many different people is very powerful, and listening to the different podcasts you're doing with the different people, because everybody as they're growing in their journey in direct sales, they become more and more authentic of who they are, and that comes out in what they're sharing. And so it helps inspire others to be more authentic themselves, right? And that is what will attract people to come and join their business or buy the products from them, just like you were saying a moment ago, that when
Yeah.
we have that deep connection. So what you guys are putting out into the world is fabulous. You're helping a lot
Thank
of
you.
people, more than you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are so excited to be doing this. We love sharing and we love having the guests and having them share their stories. So I really want to thank you again for joining us. Before I do our closeout, can you just tell us what your website is, just in case people can't jump into the show notes, just so that they have it available to them?
Absolutely. It's Julie, Julie, and then JACKY.com, which is Julie
Perfect.
Jacky. But if I tell you how to say Jacky, you're going to spell it wrong. So, because it's not spelled the normal way. So it's JULIEJACKY.com.
Perfect. All right, Julie. Well, I thank you again so much for joining us. I really enjoy chatting with you on the podcast today. I know that people are going to have tons of takeaways, and I am just so excited to learn more about your tapping because, yeah, I think I need that in my life. So, uh,
Everyone does.
and I just want to say thank you again to the listeners. We really appreciate you tuning in each week, and we look forward to coming back to you with another episode of The Other 99%. We'll see you again next week. Take care.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Other 99%. We just want to say thank you. It truly means the world to us that you're here. Lisa and I absolutely love creating these episodes for you, and we're so grateful to have you in our community. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to like, share with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We drop fresh content every Tuesday. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas? Leave us a comment. Want to be a guest on the show? We would love to chat with you. Apply by clicking the link in the show notes. Thanks again for spending time with us today, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Other 99%.